Look who it is, baby boys, baby girls, welcome back. Glad you made it. It's another social production. We're doing it on December the 9th, 2022. To all my boss mans doing boss man things. All the boss gals doing boss gal things. What's going on, baby boys, baby girls? We're kicking it. It is Friday, heading into the weekend. A lot of exciting things are happening. Oh man, happy to be amongst you kicking and taking it day by day, and that's what we're doing around here, baby. We just show up and try to have some fun again. Where can you find these wonderful videos? On Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. It's called Glad You Made It. Subscribe on YouTube for the full-length videos. Follow me on Instagram. Check out patreon.com/robsadri. Get you some. Share it with the family. Share it with the crew. Share it with the gang members, with the syndicate, because that's what we are. Big global syndicate, a family consisting of 8 billion people and growing too every day, each and every day. So thank you guys, thank you gals for out there procreating, adding to the numbers, putting the numbers up. Thank you. Let's get started. Let's get right into it. Let's start light, and then we'll get to, like, I don't know where else it'll lead to, but let's start light. Let's start with a little bit just brief coverage of what is going down this weekend. With today is, I guess, the last remaining 8 teams are playing in the World Cup. FIFA today is, I want to say it's Brazil and Croatia. Today, and probably another team versus another team as well. And that's what, and then tomorrow we'll have another team versus another team, and followed by another game, which is consisted of another team versus another. And soccer, man, I could speak about soccer for days. It's just a bunch of men who've been playing since they were younger, boys to men, you could say. Consists of ball handling, although there's no handling of the ball involved in soccer unless you're the goalie, which is a complete different scenario. But otherwise, it's just holding on to your balls, passing them balls. It's all about your skills and balls. So that's what it is, and it's a beautiful sport. Excited to see what happens, what unravels, and that's just soccer magic, baby. It happens every 4 years, and yeah, it's wonderful to see the sport grow and people do amazing, wonderful things. So thank you very much. What else is going down in the world of sports? Man, UFC 282 is popping this weekend. I'm excited. I'm probably going to try to catch that at some point, and it's a beautiful card, just like many of the other cards prior, and this is no different. They're always delivering. I can't wait to see them boys and gals get in there and just slug it out. Talking about them elbows, knees, shins, folks just going out there slapping each other with them earlobes. Take that, take that, take that. Oh, you didn't see that coming, did you? That's that hidden technique down under where you go into the depths of the jungle and find new techniques of fighting. Oh, what is this tribe doing? Hitting each other, whipping each other with their earlobes. Oh, it's small, but it's if you catch them right there. Oh, but you gotta, it's techniques that you and I cannot just, pick up through sheer watching. It's dedication. It's a lifetime of, man, I want to put my head into something, put myself physically into something, put myself spiritually into something and go get it. And that's what I love about sports, really. The challenge of sports, whether it's a personal endeavor or a team endeavor, I love it because there's so many things you can extrapolate and use in life that's applicable. Because it's like every time you go out there, it's a little challenge, it's a little battle, and it's a beautiful thing to watch it. And yeah, it's just, right there, right there. Careful out there to all them boys and gals doing it, but also, like, y'all know what you're doing. I don't need to tell you to be careful. This is not a sport for the faint of heart. We know what we do around here. Spill blood, break bones, shatter bones, eventually heal bones and then come back. Oh man, it's a crazy sport. That's why I love it. It's so out there. That's why I love it. It's wild. It is entertaining. It's filled with moments of glory, moments of, little bumps and hurdles right here and there, and then moments of redemption. It's beautiful. I love it. Thank you for everybody doing it. UFC, the athletes, the provider of the stadiums, everybody who's, working on them lights, working on them, with the announcers, the ringside girls, Everybody doing it. Beautiful, beautiful. Love it. That's what's going on this weekend. And these are the lighter stuff of today. These are lighter stuff of today. I'm just looking forward to see what happens and unravels, just like many of you guys. I wonder who will, I wonder who will win the World Cup. I wonder who will win the fights tomorrow evening. They're all nice fights. And that's what it is. Sometimes you just got to wait and see what happens. But that is life, man. What else is going on in and around this beautiful planet? This one's a little bit, let's shift gears if we can, if we may together on a little bit. Man, let me get a sip of this first. And let's go into detective mode. It's Detective Rob Sadri, thank you very much. Detective mode, figuring it out together. There is a story. It's real life. It's based on real events. It has happened. This is true. You could say it's a crime, and it's true. So it makes it a true crime story event. This is we're gonna get into it. There's different aspects of it, but I'll just give you the gist of it, and then we can talk about it and see what happens, what will unravel in the future. So about 5 years ago, a couple in the GTA, an affluent couple, you might say. An affluent couple in the GTA were murdered in their home, in their residence, in a gruesome manner. And it still remains unsolved. I guess that's called a cold case. It's definitely not hot. It's definitely not warm. It's definitely not lukewarm. Yeah, I would assume it's a cold case because it's been 5 years. They've not caught the attacker, the peoples, plural, and maybe more than one person involved in the sitch. And yeah, they were murdered in their residence in the GTA, in an affluent part of the city, in a nice neighborhood. And here's the thing. Okay, let me give you a little bit of background. And let's take it a little bit even further back before the background, so you know what my perception of the matter is. I guess when I was in my late teens, early 20s, I'd be driving around the city, and every once in a while I drive into parts where it's a little bit more industrial, or it might be a little bit of a mix of a new subdivision being developed and not much going on, and then you might see farmland, and amongst that you might see, oh, what is this giant building? What is this industrial sized giant building? And there happens to be a large logo on it reading Apotex. Apotex. And I used to drive by, again, late teens, early 20s, and again, it would just, at that time, the only thing intriguing about this little driving scenario, you might say, is the fact that to me as a young man, I'm just like, man, in the midst of all this farmland, new subdivisions being built and whatnot, this is a huge property. I wonder what this Apotex company is. I wonder what they do. I wonder what they're all about. And the next thing you know, throughout the years, I've been driving throughout the city here, there, everywhere, doing different things, and I noticed more buildings that will pop up. Same building, it's a big giant building, says Apotex on it, and long story short, I looked into it. I'm like, what is this manufacturing company in the GTA? Apotex, I keep seeing it. And it turns out that it was, and it still is, I believe, is a pharmaceutical manufacturing company. So that's what that was, Apotex, no big deal. Fast forward to, I guess, 5 years ago, we hear this couple getting murdered in Toronto, and then it just so happens to be that they were the owners of this giant pharmaceutical company, Apotex. So I was just like, oh man, what a weird coincidence scenario, horrible scenario for their family. Of course, you don't want that happening to anybody. But yeah, I was just like, oh man, all these years I've been driving around the city, coming across this big giant pharmaceutical manufacturing company, and the owners were in the GTA, they're in Toronto, locals, doing local things, and yeah, they got what happens, something happened, and they got murdered, and it's been remaining open ever since, and I guess the families would like some closure, and I bet the police department would also like to, close the file, close the case. You don't want too many cold cases. Apparently, there is a $10 million reward for any tips or what have you that might lead to a possible arrest of sorts. We haven't, as the public, the only piece of information I believe, that we've received or that I've seen so far was just a very brief moment, a little scenario where it's on videotape where you see a fella walking in the neighborhood suspiciously. decked out in mostly black, if I'm not mistaken. You can't see his face, so kind of, you know, just like, oh, lurking in the neighborhood, if you will. And it's sus. And that's the only video image that has been displayed to the public thus far, as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, they're just like, oh, how do we solve this? How do we, and it's, oh man, this is Detective Rob Sadry's jurisdiction. Thank you very much. How do we solve this? Let's crack it wide open together and let's see if we can, you know, happen to help out somebody and happen to make some bucks here and there. Wouldn't hurt either, would it? 10 million bucks, you know, let's split it. Let's do, you know, I'll take a mil if I can lead. But that's how do you determine the tip that's like leading to your arrest of the individuals? And again, this is, you know, you're like, you know, are you doing this for the money? No. But like, you know, should money land in an account of mine, I'm not going to be like, oh no, money. You know what I mean? So that's that. It's like killing two birds with one stone, you know, probably a bad choice of words with the killing of the birds. And let's forget that. Let's remain on topic. So you guys want to like crack this case. All right, let's crack it together. Let's try to crack it together if we can. Have you guys tried the old 5 W's and the H, the who, what, when, where, how of the matter? Who were Barry, I believe, Barry and Honey Sherman. Who were Barry and Honey Sherman? Well, we've already kind of covered that. Affluent couple in the GTA who happened to own a pharmaceutical manufacturing company known as Apotex. So the who, we know the who. The when, the who, what. The what is the, what it is that it's a murder. It's a murder mystery in the GTA. And the family would like some answers. And there's 10 million bucks up there. Just saying. Horrible circumstances. But again, I'm just saying what's considered a lead and also a, you know, potential little. Anywho, I'll just like continue on with the 5 W's and the classic H, shall we? So we already covered the who. The what is the murder, obviously remaining unsolved. The who, what, when. 5 years ago, man, we are just kicking butt right here. 5 years ago, murdered. Who, what, when, where, in their home, residence. Thank you very much, covering bases. Where? In the GTA, in Toronto, in Ontario. Thank you, covering all the bases. That's what it is. That's the where. The who, what, when, where, how remains. Did we cover who? Barry, Honey, Sherman. What? Murder? When? It's 5 years ago. Where? In their home. Missing some. Who, what, when, where, how, why? Why? How and why? Why, you ask? Beautiful, beautiful. I was wondering, am I missing something? Yes, we were. The how and the why. How? Through removing of life. You know, it's you remove someone's life, you're murdered. You're out there murdering. If you remove the life of somebody, that is how you murder. So that's how. You know, I believe at one point again, they were tied up to chairs or so. It was a gruesome. It was a thing. It's kind of like, yeah, it is a true crime story in the GTA. Weird sitch, sus circumstances, sus people probably involved, and you know, so the who and the how. No wait, the how and the how and the why. That's right, why, and that's the why is the most interesting question out of all of them. The W, I gotta tell you there, fellas, the ladies out there paying attention. The W's are mighty intriguing. Why? And that's what I asked. I'm like, why? Why, God? Why? Not to that extent, but I was like, oh, I want the answers. I'd like to pitch in a little tip, you know, nonchalantly, of course, anonymously, of course. All that being said, does it matter if it's anonymous or? But like, I want to be like I want to make sure if it's coming from me, that you know, but also if they happen to catch anybody, I don't want there to be any like, oh, Detective Rob Sadry help with the case. No, man, it's all somebody else. Just point fingers to somebody else. And this is a matter of community, god damn it, and a lot of money as well. I'm just saying. Can it be warped like both? It's a man. What have we? Oh, boys and girls, ladies and gents. Let's just focus on the why. Why? Why would somebody kill somebody else? Well, there are different scenarios. There is always, you know, it wasn't a case of lovers quarrel beef. It wasn't a case of lovers quarrel beef. You know, it wasn't like husband and wife going at it. So it was from the outside. So it's, it's not one of those situations. It's from, somebody's out there murdering. That's what it is. But the why does somebody, isn't it? It's, you want something. Most often it's something that somebody wants. That's why I would assume from all my years of detecting, that somebody wants something. And it always goes back to, it's either material goods or money or again, a person for love or something. They're like, oh, I wanna like, but they took both of them out. It wasn't like one of them got taken out so that the other one can go and hop off with their lover. So that's not the case. So in this scenario, I don't think the murderer wanted any like sort of relationship. I think we can deduce that. I don't think that he wanted to like come in there and be like, oh, can this be like a throuple of sorts? Can this be a thing? And they're like, no, we're only like, deuces all day. And then he's like, oh, you guys hurt my feelings. I thought this could be something, but that's not the scenario. I'm deducing that is not the scenario. I think it had something to do, if I had to guess, given the circumstances, given the scenario, given the fact that our victims were a affluent couple who happened to own a pharmaceutical company in the GTA. I think money might have had something to do with it. I'm just saying. And then I'm like, let me do a little bit of brief Googling on the lines. So I'm Googling on the lines out there, like a detective does. Google on the lines. And, I'm like, I come across a little piece of information which might already be available out there. But if it's not available out there, you might consider that a tip. And if it's not a tip worth 10 million, maybe like 500,000 or something. But again, we're talking about money here. Anyway, let's just move forward. Point is that apparently I read Honey and Barry Sherman, around the time of their death, apparently, I don't know, allegedly might have owed something around a neighborhood of $1 billion to some peoples. And apparently, from what I read, they weren't planning on paying it back. I'm just saying, is there any room for like looking into that direction? Who they owe money to? Did they owe any money? Who are their business partners? Who are their family members? Do we have any resentful family members who are like, man, if I could just like, what ifs, right? Take out this like aunt or uncle or what ifs, I could take over the big corporation of sorts. So is it a family? Is it anybody in the family? We got to rule everybody. Everybody at this point, everybody remains a suspect. You cannot leave the jurisdiction until I've questioned everyone. Okay, fine. You can, if you're a family, you can like, in the city, but don't you dare think about leaving the city. I don't know how it works. You might be able to leave the city, but like also like be available for like questioning. This day and age, I'm not too worried about people like disappearing off the grid unless you're like completely ready to go like, I want to go in the bush, man. I want to go into nature and be with them alligators in the swamp. I want to just, so it's like, GPS is almost on everybody, so I'm not worried about like losing people, but I'm just saying everybody at this point could be a potential suspect, so that everybody's sus out there, family members included. That being said, it probably isn't a family member, I would assume, but after that you would go into like, who else would have something to gain from all this murdering, from all this, gruesome murdering? Who else would benefit? I would assume some business partners would have something to gain. Did somebody have something to gain from Barry and Honey Sherman's death? Like, was there a merger in the talks? Let's merge the companies. And they're like, no, we're not going to merge. We're going to buy out your company and own everything as a giant conglomerate, all under our own name. And the other fellows were like, oh, that's how you're going to play it, huh? I'm just saying. Or was it not even a case of like a joint effort thing? Maybe it was just like somebody owes somebody some money. Large pharmaceutical companies, they're like, oh, I'm making potions in my large pharmaceutical company manufacturing facility. Let me, pouring potions, mixing, doing chemistry, probably getting a little bit high while doing all this with all the fumes and everything. And you forget to pay your bills. So who amongst us have not ever forgotten to pay a bill once or twice? Oh, I forgot to pay the internet bill. Oh, my bad. That's why it's like double this month is what you'll see. So somebody might have accidentally, innocently forgotten to be like, oh, what is this loose billy that I happen to owe and I've not yet paid? So somebody might have been like, I'm not going to pay it. Just like, nonchalantly while they were like chilling, and somebody might have heard something, and they take that message and deliver it to such and such, and they're like, they're not gonna pay the Billy. And then all of a sudden it's like, it's big pharma time, baby. Big pharma is kind of like, it's it's like, it's when power meets money. And I'm not saying these guys, but they're fairly big. Again, lots of buildings, giant firm. It's not like a mom and pop shop. So this is big money involved. I'm just saying there's probably a lot to be lost for some people, and there's probably a lot to be gained. These are my detective feelings telling me that there's something to be lost and something to be gained. So I think that pretty much like wraps it up. I think we can narrow it down to a number of competitors slash potential, business partners, associates, you might call them. Bring those fellas and ladies. Who were the last people that saw them? Who were the last people that engaged with them in terms of relation? Did they go out to a dinner party? Did they go out to a business meeting? Were they together? All that. Where were they in the past 72 hours? Can we track phone calls? I'm pretty sure we can. You know what I mean? All these things that we could do together. And if any of these, like the things that I'm saying, if any of these appeal to you as a tip, again, check out patreon.com/RobSadger, where you can not only enjoy the show and talk about it amongst your friends and family, and like pass it around like it's hotcakes, but that's where you can like slip in a meal, 2 meals. Is it worth 10 meals? I don't even know, dude. I'm not even saying this is like what it is, but I'm just saying it was in the news. And it said it was a $10 million reward, and I am a detective after all, working full time at my own pace. Thank you very much. But it's a matter of the community, and we may potentially have to look elsewhere abroad as well for some answers. Was there a shipment that was coming in? Was it a front? Was it a legit pharmaceutical company fronting, potentially smuggling in, I don't know, illegal or illicit drugs? Is that a thing? Can that be? No, I don't want to, I have no idea. Maybe not. Probably not. Not gonna, that's a wild guess. That's just a wild guess. That's what it is. Sometimes as a detective, you go with your gut. And I just felt like I should say that. Maybe they're like, oh yeah, bringing in some antibiotics in the shipment of antibiotic manufacture. They're a manufacturer. They wouldn't actually have it, but they might manufacture some stuff where they might have to ship in other stuff. I've seen it happen in other industries. So they're manufacturing whilst also shipping in, and sometimes they're like, yeah, I want my antibiotics from South America or something, or like East Asia. And then while you're at it, antibiotics in the front of the shipment, the back end loaded up with heroin or cocaine or something, dude. You know what I'm saying? Or if that's not the case, if that's like to El Chapo, that's not the case, just look at the regular business partners. And also question for the gang: why is there only one image of a man walking by very, very momentarily? Do you guys have access to more images? Are there more videos out there? Because again, it is an affluent neighborhood. Is there anybody else with a camera? Have you guys knocked on the door? Be like, hey, do you guys have any, surveillance cameras up? Did the Shermans have any other, did they have more videos? Was anything, did somebody? All I'm saying, man, is just like, if any of these feel like a tip to you, and I'm just saying, I'm not, it's what it is that answers must be provided. But that is a murder mystery that has happened. That is a murder mystery that has happened right here in the GTA, and it's been open for the past 5 years. The story just came up, and it just reminded me. I'm like, yeah, I remember 5 years ago when I just heard of it. I was in shock. I'm like, oh man, you don't hear about this kind of stuff. It feels like a movie almost. It feels like a movie scenario. You're like, oh, good guys, bad guys, a lot of money involved. Somebody got murked. What's going on? Wagwan is what you're asking. I'm asking that too, man. But point is, fam, that it is Friday. We're about to, go into a weekend. And again, I hope the case does get resolved, hopefully with the help of any of these tips that I just dropped. Point is, moving forward, what else has been going on? Oh man, an exciting, I've got news. You guys, I don't have the news personally. Like, I just talk about it and try to look at it from different angles. So I'm not giving you you might have probably heard about this. And again, the collective the Western we did a little exchange with Russia. We swapped prisoners, swapping the old prisoners. We did a swapperoo of the prisoners. We got our baller lady back. We got Brittany Griner back. Hells yeah, a swish. Stunk swish. We got her back. Brittany Griner's back. I'm happy to hear that. I'm really glad to hear she's back, safe and sound, with her family. And Russia got someone back too. So we got Brittany. What about Victor? What about Victor? What about Victor? What about Victor? It's just about Victor. His name's Victor Bout. Because what about? Anyway, point is, what about Victor is that they've got this guy back. First of all, he looks like if he looks like a nihilistic Ned Flanders who does a little bit of body weight exercises, you know, chin-ups, pull-ups, push-ups, squats. Low-key, nothing like mage, but essentially nihilistic Ned Flanders, got a stash, rocking a stash. His name is Victor Bout. What about Victor? He happens to be, so we got a baller back. We got one of our nice ballers in the WNBA, that is, you know, the women's NBA. And we got her back, and they've got, now I believe Victor is he's got a nickname. You know how you all go like about living your life and you come up about how, like, you know, you got a nickname out there. You know, you got nicknames. Oh, that's Soda Pop right there. Oh, that's Soda Pop. You know what it is? You know, that's you know, or something along those lines. But, you know, you come up with different nicknames throughout your childhood. That's you know, that's catchy. That's kind of in tune with your aura, with your essence, with what you're all about. You know, your close friends, my cousins. This fella, Victor Bout. What about Victor? And his nickname is apparently the Merchant of Death. Yeah, Merchant of Death. The Merchant of Death. What is a merchant? A merchant is a dealer, is a fellow or a lady who procures services and or goods. So Victor, and death is some say the man. If you want to look at it like it's all a circle of life, death is just the beginning, some might say, who are in the business of death, and like, so they're trying to put a positive spin on it. I would assume that's how he's still, because like selling death, essentially he's the merchant of death, essentially. So he's been, but that's the good, here, let's break it down, because I did break it down in order to be able to, like, let's, you know, I have heard different sides of this, and again, I'm an outsider living in Canada in terms of like getting a view of what do Americans feel about this. I feel like a lot of people are happy. Obviously, we got our Swish lady back. Fucking yeah, dude. Fucking Duncan. Oh, yeah. You know, so some are happy about it. Some have said, could we have gotten a better deal? Apparently, there was another fellow who might have been a prospect for getting back, but he didn't come back. I don't know the full deets. That's all we got. Essentially, that's what we got. We got Brittany Griner back. They got the Merchant of Death. And yeah, so overall, I think it is, and at the end of the day, it is nice to see somebody back. And you know, and here's the thing about the positives of this situation. And if you're like, maybe we should have gotten more, we technically did. Dude. She is 6'9". I looked it up. She's 6'9". So technically, just in terms of like substance, weight, space, quantity, it's not about quality. No, it's not about quantity. It's about quality. It's not about quantity. It is about quantity because we want to. It's about quality and quantity. First of all, if you're talking about quality, fucking top of the. I can't honestly say I've watched too much of the WNBA, but she's up there. One of the best out there. Okay, so we got quality and quantity. She's not like this, like fucking like, you know, 4 foot, you know. Like 6'9", that's like a person and a half. So in terms of, did we get more? Hell yeah, dude, we got way more. He's way shorter. And older too. This lady's young. She can do stuff now. She's only spent maybe, you know, still even a day in prison is too long. But she did like, I think about a year or so. He's been doing like 10, 15 years if I'm not mistaken. Overall, she can get back in her game. You know what I mean? She can get back in there and swish. Swish, you know? But it's gonna take him some time to get back into the Merchant of Death game, you know? So many things. So many things that he'll have to, like, hurdles that he'll have to go through. And another pro about this situation, our prisoner, our girl, was already gay before she went to prison, fam. What up? What up? What up? She was already gay before she went to prison. You can't fucking, like, oh, you're gonna be uncomfortable with some encounters in there. That's her comfort zone, fam. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm not saying anything happened by any stretch of the imagination, but, it's them's present rules, son. In the Eastern Bloc, in the Soviets, Unions, Russia, modern day Russia, stuff. Cold. You get shipped out. Who knows? I'm not, but I'm just saying, winning already before the games even started in that sense. On the other hand, I can't say the same thing about Victor. Probably a straight man going into jail. Russian, mustache, merchant of death. I would say, if I were to guess, say he's pretty straight before going into prison. During prison, I can't, and again, 10, 15 years. Not even saying anybody has to impose or anything. A fella or a lady might just get lonely. It's been 10, 15 years. I'm not judging you out there, but I'm just saying. And for you to have to go out of your comfort zone, that's kind of a W right there. So again, we got more in terms of the person, the quality, younger, already gay, nothing to worry about there. They got somebody old. We got him when he was older, past his prime. He's done. He's finished, dude. He's finished. He's not out there slinging weapons now. You know how another thing, hurdles, glass half full mentality. You know how out of date his concepts of new weaponry are? He's gonna be going in there with knowledge of the early thousands, whereas like now you probably got like this 20, 30-year-old merchant of death, slim built Russian fella with a thinly formed mustache, goatee sitch happening on his face. You know what I'm talking about? Out there with a buzz cut, with a flat top, doing it right there on the laptop, ordering stuff, selling it on the black market, merging the black market with the white market, creating the gray, making it very questionable. But nonetheless, there are offshore accounts. He'll be paid. They'll be paid. What are we even talking? The point is that he's got competition right now. You can't do it, because that's the thing. I'm assuming he was the merchant of death, but you don't go into that business like you're the only one. You know what I mean? Like there's the dealer of death. There is the smuggler of death. There's the, and there are people doing it part-time too. Not everybody, it's a gig economy, or I don't think that it's like, oh, I wonder if he's like committed fully. I'm sure people started with like doing it as a gig thing, and then eventually they're like, man, if I want to make it to the top of this game, I gotta like focus. So there's competition out there. His knowledge is outdated. There's young blood in there providing. Yeah, he's old, dude. He's older now. But he is like he was at the time, like fucking ruthless apparently. Like merchant of the day. Yeah, that's not an easy nickname to come across and like have stick on you for a long time. Enduring too. So he's coming out, he'll have to do a lot of research just to like, get himself updated with the new weaponry. And there's so much lasers involved these days. You know what I mean? So point is, overall, I think we won in that sense. Like, collective team humanity won. Like we got a good lady, we got a good lady back, and we gave an old merchant of, and you can't just it's not like riding a bike. It's not like you just pick up a phone call and make a couple of phone calls and be like, guess who's back, boys? The merchant of death is back. Actually, I would imagine that's how it would kind of go in terms of that would probably, I would assume they want him to, he's not going to like go back and not do merchant of death stuff, I would assume, because that's a hard thing to get out of too. You know what I mean? It's not like the merchant of tea. You could get out of like being a tea merchant, You could get out of selling t-shirts is what I'm trying to tell you. But if you're out, you could come back, you could go to jail, be a tea merchant, your merchant teas, and you get in there, you do time, you get out, you're like, man, I wonder if there's more to life than just merchant teas. Maybe I don't want to merchant. There's no outside pressure like, oh, now you got to come back and merch tea for us. We want that. We want the supply of tea from you. Straight up from you, and like how to like cook the tea or whatever, So the point is that he's probably gonna have to get back, because I don't think once you go into certain occupations, you give up on a lot of other skill sets. You know what I mean? So he'll have to like get back in that pool, make some phone calls. There's gonna be an adjustment period for him. It's not gonna be like he's not gonna be at his best performance dealing death. But and how do you get it? How do you get into that sort of thing? You know that's what it is. That's what some people, you know. It's, I'm assuming it has to do with like childhood. You know, a little bit of the old nature versus nurture scenario, and what happened in this fella's life, I don't know, but like that's what he does. He's the merchant of death, man. And maybe he was like slowly starting out. Maybe he didn't start off day one going into like, I'm the merchant of death. Maybe he started with like, I'm the merchant of like bruises. You know what I mean? Just like, I'm the maybe when he was a wee little baby, he's like, I'm the merchant of ankle bites. He'd be biting ankles, and he'd also be providing an idea for other toddlers to be like, have you ever gone around and bitten a couple of ankles? And all of a sudden he's like, oh, this baby's the merchant of ankle biting. And then, you know, eventually he worked his way up. He's walking up to adults, punching them in the groin, you know? The bringer of pain between the ages of 8 to 12, you know? That's what and then you work your way up is what I'm saying, apparently, hopefully. Because if you just like, maybe it was a natural. Maybe you just dove into the deep end and like, really good at it or something. Anyway, all the best to everybody, right? Man, weird scenarios all around the world. That is something, that's a doozy. I'll tell you that is a doozy. But the beautiful thing, there's always, you know, forget this particular scenario, forget these individuals involved. There's pros and cons to everything, and it just reminded me there's a pro and a con of going to prison, of course, as well. You know, it's got many cons, many obvious cons, you know. But there is definitely some pros as well. There's definitely some pro. One of the pros that would, you know, be a, again, glass half full mentality situation if you were to deal with it. If you for whatever reason have had to do time, one bright side, if you are at one point getting out, you will probably have amazing, what I like to call, what the streets call, double OPS, out of prison sex. Double OPS. You would probably have some amazing double OPS. It'll take some time for people to like catch on, like in terms of like lingo and everything. But like again, double OPS. Anytime you hear that, what is that? Let me get a little bit of that double OPS. That's out of prison sex. Out of prison sex. Double OPS. Remember, say it all day, every day. You're like, what are you doing? You know, engaging in some double OPS. Hopefully not. But like if that happens to be your life, then there's no shame. Everybody, if you've done your time, if you've served your sentence, you deserve some double OPS, out of prison sex. The point is, they will have some, you know, in terms of whoever comes out of prison. That's one of the bright side of things. You will have amazing out of prison sex, because I'd imagine, you know, that's not like, prison sex isn't something like, you know, you don't want prison sex. I would assume most often, like, you know, if God forbid, if anything happens, you'd hope for a short sentence where you don't have to like engage in anything. Definitely not involuntary engagement of, you know, in prison sex. That'd be no bueno. But prison's rough, man. Prison's rough. You hear all sorts of stories, but that's the thing. I hope that when people do get out, they have amazing double OPS. So that's what it is. Who would have, you know, man, the Merchant of Death having double OPS. He is probably, man, he's got the mustache for it. He looks like he could, like, you know, just fucking like he's that semi-automatic. No, he's fully automatic. Just like, you know, going at it or something. But that's just, there's always the pros and cons of everything. And I think that's one of the upsides of having experienced prison or jail. If should I don't hope it for anybody, of course, but should one happen to, you know, find themselves in that scenario, there's always something to look forward to once you get out. Double OPS, remember that. That's what it is. That's what it is. So overall, beautiful things are happening in and around this beautiful planet. It is, man, it's just what it is. And you're like, man, who's this show made for? Let me get a sip of this and I'll get right into that. This show's literally made for everybody. It is happening for approximately 2 years. We're just starting. We're just getting started. We come here every Monday. What did I get? I got a hair in my mouth, I think. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Yeah, I think I swallowed it. It's all right. Not to worry about. We're here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Who's this? Who's this production for? Who are these wonderful videos made for? They're made for you, lady. They're made for you, fella. You're like, how do I know it's the right type of video for me? Let me ask you this, lady, is out there. Do you happen to own an ovary? Do you happen to own an ovary? You got ovaries? Guess what? This show's for you. This show is for you. If you happen to, if you got a full-blown uterus, this show is for you. Fellas, if you have, if you experience morning wood, this show's for you. As a matter of fact, if you experience wood anytime during the day, this show's for you. Ladies, if you're the type of lady who'll have regular vaginal discharge, you're a regular lady who happens to, you're just sitting there, a little bit of discharge from the vag. It happens to everybody, all day, every day. This show is for you. So like at the end of the day, when you take off them panties, a little bit of discharge, you're like, man, he knows everything about me. So I take the time, I take the effort, I do the research. This show's for you. Fellas, if you have grown up and had to switch over from white underwear only to any other color but white, because let's face it, a couple of droplets do happen to go here, there, everywhere. Nothing's more embarrassing than a grown man with a pair of whitey tighties with yellow pee stains. Am I right, everybody? But if you're the fella that has gone through life and you're like, man, any color but white for undies, this show's for you. What do we provide? Entertainment. Talking about this, that, and nothing, really. At the end of the day, you're like, what do you know about anything? I said it before, I'll say it again. Absolutely nothing. Literally don't know anything. God, but it's a relief. It is a relief. It's sort of like the relief. It's very much similar to masturbation. It's good because it can happen, you know it, and it's like you're in charge. But then as soon as it's finished, you're like, oh man. So there's a sense of relief, but it's followed by, I should probably whatever. I don't even know where I was going with that. It's nothing at all like masturbation. Masturbation. If masturbation could be like anything, it'd be just like, it's what it is. It's basically like no different than eating or mowing the lawn, or going for a jog or whatever. I don't even know where I was going with that one, but that's what we do around. We go places where we sometimes don't know where we're going. That's what I'm trying to say, essentially. So if you're looking for answers, wrong place. If you're looking for a guy who's growing day by day, hour by hour, if you want to really break it down, month by month, depending how you want to look at it. If you want to look at a full calendar year, I grow. And I see your growth out there as well. Everybody's growth. I try to look at it. I'm like, look at people grow. And that's what we do around here. So that's what it is. This is a family that supports each other, whatever you're doing out there, whether it's your endeavor in the pursuit of education, you're getting educated out there. I supports it. If you're working on your own business, I supports it. You got a little sandwich shop, you're out there doing carpentry out there, woodworking out there. You're out there, working in whichever field you choose to. I support it. Your boy truly is chasing his dreams on a daily, hoping to, fully grow up one day. One day. I'm not in a rush. With, one day when I fully, at the ripe old age of 195,000 years old, when I grow up, I'd like to one day be a professional comic. And that is the dream. Till then, we work at it, we write, we laugh, we sometimes do cry too, not gonna lie, fam. We sometimes do shed a couple of tears. But that's okay, that just reminds us of what? That we're not yet fully robots, that's right. So shed a couple while you still can, and I will try to do the same thing. But in the meantime, enjoy all your days, live in the moment as much as you can, but also, plan a little bit ahead, but also I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. So, do as you wish. Whatever makes you the happiest version of you, the best version of you, do that. And always remember, should you walk into the, let's just drift a little bit. Should you walk into the wrong floor of the hotel that you just checked into, and the door was open. Let's say you walked into the wrong hotel room accidentally. Should you catch somebody engaging in some, peculiar exercises that you've never seen before, wait just a second. Wait just a second. If it's intriguing, don't say anything. Sometimes saying something might spook them. Let them do the talking. You might get an invite. Should you walk into the wrong hotel room, of course. Yeah, so if you happen to catch yourself in that scenario, once you open the door and walk in and there's a fellow or a lady going at it, or a couple of ladies, or a couple of fellows, depending again, and whatever you're into, don't say anything. Don't say anything. Just stand there, see what happens. Read the room. If they're inviting, go for it. If they're like, whoa, fella, what are you doing? Just be like, I'm so sorry. Wrong room. But if you don't say anything, it's kind of like it's kind of like it's kind of like a game of chicken, but with a scenario involving an unlocked door and the random event of you opening the wrong door of the hotel room that is right below you on the wrong floor of the. I don't know where I was going with that, but let's just put it this way. Should you happen to find yourself in a peculiar situation and you don't know what to do, sometimes not saying anything is the best thing. But sometimes take initiative, of course. If you happen to have just if they're really inviting and they're like, come on in, have some fun, yeah, and it's like champagne and flying vag all over the floor, it's party time is what it is. So enjoy yourselves is what I'm trying to tell you. Baby boys, baby girls, I love you. Thank you for all the love and support. I'll be back here again on Monday. In the meantime, have fun, talk about it. It's called Glad You Made It on YouTube, on Instagram, on patreon.com/RobSadri. Talk to y'all very soon. Have a great weekend. Love y'all. Right there. Peace out.